My pulse quickened, sending a prickle to my fingertips as I clutched the key card to my own hotel, watching my sister bar the entrance. My father's hearty chuckle rang out from the opulent lobby of the Sapphire Crown, a space I'd envisioned, a hotel I owned, yet here I stood outside like an uninvited guest. "You're not actually thinking of coming in, are you?" Vanessa sneered, her tone dripping with mockery. She smoothed her imitation designer gown, one I'd spotted in the early drafts my friend, a couturier, had shown me over coffee last week, and rooted herself more firmly in the doorway. "This is the Sapphire Crown, Ellie. The chef's tasting menu costs more than your monthly paycheck." If only she knew I'd crafted that menu alongside our world-renowned chef. "He's my father too," I replied, my voice calmer than I felt. The slim envelope in my purse, holding the title to a seaside estate in Capri, one of the Sapphire Crown's premier properties, seemed to grow heavier. "I'm Eleanor, 38, a hospitality magnate. This is the tale of how I staked my claim to a seat at a table I rightfully owned." Mom and Dad were clear, Vanessa went on, glancing at her reflection in the glass doors. "They want only accomplished people here, those who won't tarnish the family name." The irony hit me like a slap. Just yesterday, I'd approved a $100 million expansion for the Sapphire Crown chain. Today, I was apparently too shameful to step inside my own hotel. I swallowed a laugh as the ridiculousness of it all washed over me. A decade ago, when I left the family's modest bookkeeping business to chase a career in hospitality, they'd practically disavowed me. My father's words still echoed in my mind. "No child of mine will be a fancy maid." So I let them assume what they wanted, let them think I was scraping by in restaurant work. In reality, I'd built Sapphire Hospitality into one of the nation's top luxury hotel empires. The fancy maid now owned 35 elite hotels spanning 3 continents. Eleanor, my mother's sharp voice, sliced through my thoughts as she appeared behind Vanessa. "Why are you here? We settled this." No, they had settled it. I'd received a curt text from my mother this morning: "Don't show up to Dad's birthday. It's at the Sapphire Crown. You can't afford it. Don't humiliate us." "I brought a gift," I said softly, lifting the envelope. "Oh, what's that? A voucher for a chain restaurant?" Vanessa snickered. "Or did you pool your tips for something from a discount store?" My mother's gaze fixed on my understated clutch, a bespoke Italian leather piece worth more than Vanessa's car. "Whatever it is, I'm sure your sister's gift is more fitting," she said. "She just became junior partner at her law firm, you know." I knew. Just as I knew her firm was negotiating to rent space in one of my properties, a lease they desperately needed but couldn't quite cover. My real estate team had sent me the details yesterday. "Vanessa's thriving," my mother continued, warming to her favorite subject. "New suburban home, luxury sedan, a fiancé with bright prospects." She paused, eyeing me critically. "And you? Well, at least you're making an effort, I guess." I thought of my penthouse overlooking the city, my rare car collection, the private plane I'd flown in on today. "Yes, Mom, I'm making an effort." Speaking of effort, Vanessa smirked. "That dress, you have tried harder." "This is the Sapphire Crown, not a greasy spoon." I smoothed the elegant black silk, tailored by one of Paris's top designers, who had declined to work with Vanessa last month, a tidbit my stylist shared during my recent fitting. "It's what I could manage," I said evenly. "Well, you're not coming in," Vanessa declared. "We booked the entire VIP floor. It's for family and esteemed guests only." The VIP floor, which I'd personally revamped last year, choosing every painting and chandelier. "And these esteemed guests are?" I asked, genuinely curious. "Oh, you wouldn't know them," my mother said, waving dismissively. "The Hendersons, who run that prestigious law firm, the Greystones' Old Wealth, you know. And Mr. Carver from the bank, very prominent people." I hid a smile. The Hendersons leased 3 of my buildings. The Greystones had recently pleaded for access to my exclusive resort. And Mr. Carver's bank was seeking a hefty loan from my investment firm. "Right," I said, "prominent people." "Exactly," Vanessa replied, clearly pleased I knew my place. "So you see why you don't belong here. What would people say if they knew Dad's failed daughter was pouring their drinks?" "Vanessa," my mother chided gently, though her eyes gleamed with agreement, "be kind. Eleanor made her choices. If she'd stayed with the family business like you, things would be different." The family business, now housed in a small office in one of my properties, perpetually behind on rent. My property manager sent me monthly updates on all tenants, including their struggling firm. Just then my brother-in-law Gavin appeared, adjusting his tie. "What's the hold-up?" "Everyone's waiting." He froze when he saw me. "Eleanor didn't expect you here." "Clearly not," I said. "Gavin just made vice president at his bank," my mother boasted. Junior vice president, I corrected, knowing his exact role since his bank managed some of my minor accounts. My finance team sent me detailed reports on all our banking partners. More impressive than whatever you're up to, Vanessa snapped. What is it now? Assistant manager at some fast food joint. I thought of the board meeting I'd left early today where we discussed acquiring Gavin's bank. The documents were likely still on my desk in my private office. Something like that, I replied. This is absurd, my mother declared. Eleanor, leave. You're causing a scene. I'll tell your father you couldn't make it. Couldn't afford it, you mean? Vanessa added with a laugh. I glanced past them into the grand lobby of the hotel I'd built from scratch, at the marble tiles I'd chosen, the chandeliers I'd commissioned, the art I'd handpicked. Every detail was mine. For a moment, I considered leaving, letting them have their celebration, letting them cling to their misconceptions. But then I recalled my first mentor's advice. Success is hollow if you can't stand up for yourself. My resolve hardened as I squared my shoulders, a quiet confidence settling over me. Actually, I said softly, I think I'll stay. Before my mother could reply, the glass doors swung open and Owen, my head of security, stepped out. He'd been with me since I acquired my first failing hotel 7 years ago, turning it into the cornerstone of the Sapphire chain. Is everything okay, Madam CEO? His voice carried across the entrance. Your table is ready, and Chef Marie is waiting for your approval on the tasting menu. The silence that followed was profound. Vanessa's jaw dropped, her carefully applied makeup stark against her blanched face. My mother clutched the doorframe for support. Owen, I smiled, perfect timing. My family was just explaining how I can't afford to eat here. Ma'am, he looked puzzled, but you own the entire Sapphire chain. Indeed I do, I said, turning to my stunned family. Shall we go in? You've reserved the VIP floor, I believe, my VIP floor to be exact. Gavin spoke first. This is a prank, right? You're just a restaurant manager. Actually, Owen said calmly, Miss Eleanor is the founder and CEO of Sapphire Hospitality. She owns all 35 Sapphire Crown hotels globally, plus our resorts and dining ventures. Vanessa's clutch slipped from her hand, clattering on the marble steps. That's impossible, she stammered. The Sapphire Crown is worth billions. I nodded, which makes your remark about me not affording the tasting menu rather funny. I stepped past them into my hotel's lobby, where the staff snapped to attention. Good evening, Miss Eleanor, my front desk manager called. The presidential suite is set for your father's birthday event. Thank you, Rachel. I turned to my family, still rooted in the doorway. Coming. They followed in silence, looking around as if seeing the hotel anew. Every staff member greeted me by name, their respect earned through years of dedicated leadership. But your dress, my mother finally said, eyeing my understated gown with fresh scrutiny. Custom-made in Paris, about $30,000, I think. I'd stopped checking price tags long ago. I led them to the private elevator, pulling a special key from my clutch. Unlike Vanessa's gown, a knockoff, the real Valentino line isn't out yet. I know because I was at the exclusive preview last month. The elevator opened into the VIP lounge where my father's birthday party was in full swing. The room hushed as we entered. Eleanor, my father stood from the head table, his face a mix of shock and disbelief. What are you doing here? Your mother said you couldn't afford it, I finished, approaching him. Happy birthday. I hope you don't mind me joining the party in my own hotel. Your hotel? Mr. Carver from the bank stepped forward, relief spreading across his face. Miss Eleanor, I had no idea you were Robert Thompson's daughter. We've been trying to schedule a meeting about that loan for months. Eleanor owns the Sapphire Crown, Thomas Henderson added. My God, Robert, your daughter's the elusive CEO snapping up prime properties across the city. My father sank into his chair, his face pale. All this time we thought you were just a glorified maid. Your words, I pointed out, from the day I left the family business to follow my hospitality dreams. Why didn't you tell us? My mother demanded, gripping her necklace like a lifeline. Would you have listened? I asked quietly. You didn't believe in me a decade ago when I needed your support. Why share my achievements with people who only value wealth? I paused. Though by that standard, I suppose I outrank everyone here combined. Vanessa slumped into a chair, her face ghostly. The villa in the south of France I tried to book last summer, the one that was suddenly unavailable. Mine, I confirmed. My property manager sent me your request, unaware of the connection. I glanced at Gavin. Just like the office space your firm is struggling to lease, or the resort membership you're waitlisted for, mother. Eleanor, my father began, his voice shaky. Save it, I cut him off. I didn't reveal this to wound you, though you've wounded me plenty over the years. I did it because I'm done hiding my success to protect your egos. I turned to the room. Enjoy the party. It's on the house. My house. I started to leave, then paused. Oh, Dad, that envelope Vanessa wouldn't let me give you? It's the deed to a Capri estate, one of my finest properties. A birthday gift from your failed daughter. The next hour was surreal. People who'd ignored me at past family events suddenly wanted to talk business. The Greystones practically pleaded for that resort membership. Mr. Carver pressed me about his bank's loan. My family sat in stunned silence. Vanessa's fiancé vanished after learning her firm's future partnership hinged on a lease she couldn't afford in my building. Gavin made frantic calls, likely polishing his resume. My mother oscillated between tears and telling guests she'd always believed in me. As the night wound down, I found my father alone on the terrace, gazing at the skyline. Those buildings, he pointed. How many do you own? Enough, I said, standing beside him, including the family firm's office. He nodded slowly. I misjudged you, Eleanor. Horribly. Yes, I agreed, you did. Can you forgive us? I weighed his question, recalling years of disregard and condescension. Forgiveness isn't the point, Dad. Respect is. You never valued my choices or trusted my ability. You only admire success after it's proven. And now, he asked. Now. I gave a small smile. Now you can boast that your daughter owns the Sapphire Crown. That should make for good cocktail party chatter. I left him there, heading to my private office upstairs. Tomorrow, the family dynamic would shift. Vanessa would no longer be the favored child. My mother would rewrite history, claiming she'd always backed me. Gavin's bank might face acquisition. But tonight, I'd claimed my place at the table, one I'd built, in a room I owned, under a roof I'd funded. And that was worth more than any delayed family approval.